This question is asking, negative 17 minus negative 31 is equal to what? So when I'm starting this problem, what I'm first going to look at is this negative 31. So when I'm starting this problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this negative and it's going to be multiplied by this negative 31. Because technically, there is an imaginary negative 1 on the outside of the parentheses. So it's going to be negative 1 times negative 31, which is going to give us a positive 31, and this negative 17 just gets dropped down. From here, we have a positive 31 and a negative 17. Whenever you are combining a positive number by a negative number, they are going to subtract from one another. When they subtract from one another, they are going to take on the sign of the greater number. So this 31 is a bigger number than 17, and since 31 is a positive number, the answer is also going to be positive. So, since we're doing a negative 17 and a positive 31, they're subtracting from one another, and it's going to give us a positive 14. It's a positive 14 because the positive number is a bigger number than the negative number, which is 17. So my final answer is going to be 14. This question is asking to multiply 2.25 times negative 4.5 times negative 3 times negative 1. So we're going to split this up into two parts, starting with the multiplication of 2.25 and negative 4.5. So whenever you're multiplying a positive number by a negative number, we know that the answer is going to become a negative number. A negative times a positive makes a negative. So when I multiply these two numbers, I know my answer is going to be negative. Now, when we're multiplying decimals, I'm going to treat them like they are just normal numbers. I'm going to treat it as this being 225 and this being 45 and just multiply. So this number 5 is going to be multiplied by here, here, and here, and this 4 is going to multiply here, here, and here. So let's get started. 5 times 5 gives me 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 gives me 10, plus 2 gives me 12. Bring down the 2, carry the 1. 5 times 2 gives me 10, plus 1 gives me 11. Now we're going to do it for the 4. 4 times 5 is going to give me 20. Bring down the 0, carry the 2. 2 times 4 gives me 8, plus 2 gives me 10. Bring down the 0, carry the 1. 4 times 2 gives me 8, plus 1 gives me 9. And all we're going to do is we're going to add this and this together. 5 plus nothing gives me 5. 2 plus 0 gives me 2. 1 plus 0 gives me 1. And 1 plus 9 gives me 10. So now that I just multiplied it like it was 225 and 45, I'm going to count how many numbers are beyond the decimal point. So this number here has two numbers beyond the decimal point. We have the 2 and the 5 beyond the decimal point, and we have one number here beyond the decimal point. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3 numbers beyond the decimal point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the decimal here and count 3 over to the left. So from here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So when I multiply 2.25 times 4.5, my answer is going to be 10.125. So now that we've multiplied these two numbers together, we're going to multiply these two numbers together. When you multiply a negative number by another negative number, the answer is going to be a positive. So a negative 3 times a negative 1 is going to give me a positive 3. So now that we found the result of multiplying this number by this number and the result of multiplying this number by this number, we're going to multiply the results together. So it's going to be 10.125 times 3. So when we multiplied 2.25 times a negative 4.5, it gave us a negative 10.125. And when we multiply negative 3 and a negative 1, it gave us a positive 3. So when we're multiplying a negative 10.125 times a positive 3, our answer is going to be negative. So I'm just going to put a negative sign right here. So let's begin. 3 times 5 is 15. Bring down the 5, carry the 1. 2 times 3 gives me 6, plus 1 gives me 7. 3 times 1 gives me 3. 3 times 0 gives me 0. And 3 times 1 gives me 3. So much like what we did when we were multiplying these numbers with decimals, we're going to count how many numbers are beyond the decimal. We have 1, 2, 3 numbers beyond the decimal. So starting from here, I'm going to count 3 to the left. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. So that is where I'm going to be placing my decimal. So when I multiplied negative 10.125 times 3, a positive 3, it gives me the answer of negative 30.375. And this is my final answer.